How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Clover Health. In this play, we should be killing it. And part of the reasons being is I told you I got into a position at $8 a share, and look at the momentum we ended up seeing today. And of course, we've been seeing a little bit and seeing this actually build up, and that's why I shared it on this channel. But I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to take a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, and what we want to look forward to as this week progresses. And then secondly, we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. We want to see, does it have short squeeze potential? Because if that's the case, then of course we could see some strong moves to the upside like we saw today. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to see, are institutions loading up on shares today? Because if that is the case, this will have an impact on the stock. And then when all of that is done, I'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as going over some more key details. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for Clover Health. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $10.80, being up 22.17%. On the low, it tested $9.01, and then on the high, testing $11.13. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 171.368 million shares. And if you take a look at the average volume over 10 trading days, it was at 35.492 million shares. So well above the average there, and it's part of the reasons why we ended up seeing some strength in the stock price today. So now when we take a look at the indicators on our chart, we can see from the RSI down below, we're right at 69.50. So we are in the overbought territory, but we're on a run, so that's definitely of no surprise at all. When we take a look at our moving averages, we are above all of them. We are above the 21-day EMA, as well as the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 200-day. And it's definitely looking good. Now, when I was telling you guys, hey, when I was loading up on Clover, when I was doing those videos, it is a good price at this $8 range. As far as even getting in below, even better. And due to the fact we've had this run up, what we've been talking about was good to see. We ended up testing 11.13 on the day, where before we ended up getting some selling pressure. But the thing is, look at this. We still have this gap that needs to be filled right here. So if we can get past this area of resistance at 11.13, and then we can make a move going to around 11.65 and then making that move to $12. This is very possible if we continue the type of volume that we ended up having for today. Many traders are watching this. Whenever you see this type of consolidation and support within this particular area, eventually you're going to end up seeing a big move. And due to the fact that Clover does have that meme reputation, this is something we were looking forward to. So what I want to look forward to going into tomorrow, I want to see a further move. I want to see us get to that $12 level preferably. But one thing I do understand, we do have some resistance here at 11.65, but passing it can give us even more momentum. And of course, another thing that I want to see, if we do decide to pull back, I would love to see some support here right at $10.31 right on the 200-day, because even if we consolidate here, it just gets us ready for the next move going forward. So around Fintel, we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for CLOV. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see for September the 7th, a recent filing from Newbridge Financial Services Group that went in with 1,000 shares. And as far as for the one previous to that, we have on August the 27th, which was the DSPAC ETF at 10,081 shares. But as we also uncovered as well in past videos, Vanguard is definitely heavily vested inside of CLOV. When we take a look at the short interest information, Scrolling down on the page, short shares availability is at 600,000, updated 28 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow free rate, it is at 1.27%. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the first, it is at 37.07. The close for the second, it is 26. And then the close for the third, it was 46.23. So it went up significantly. So it'll be very interesting to see what the final number will be later on in the evening. But one thing we can clearly see, CLOV has short squeeze potential, and it's part of the reasons why we're seeing so much strength inside of the stock price today. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for CLOV. So we can see here on the inflow it's at 441, and then on the outflow it's at 416. So we ended up having an inflow day. So you can see on the large we have 1.36. This is also in the millions. And on the medium we have 320. And then on the small we have 120. On the outflow side on the large we have 2.39. And as far as for the medium it was at 307. And then on the small it was at 107. So as far as for outflows are concerned, we ended up having a surplus on the outflow side, but as far as for the medium and as well as the small, we ended up having a surplus on the inflow side. So we could see clearly there was a lot of retail trading and as well as people buying up shares to invest and stuff like that. And we could see overall in general, and this is outside of the stats that I just mentioned, as far as volume on the day, I have here on Webull, it was around 174 million, and I talked about that inside of technicals, which was crazy to have for a day like today. Now, when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see here we ended up having our outflow day today being at 1,024.34, and we saw that clearly from the large scale orders on the outflow side. So yes, we did have institutions who were selling out of their positions fairly heavy. But one thing we have to be aware of, we did have a good amount on the small and as well as on the medium side. And of course, if you add more volume on top of that, as far as FOMO and traders getting into the play, this is part of the reasons why we saw some appreciation in the overall stock. But of course, if you've been inside of this play already, you're just sitting back and you're just enjoying this ride. So now let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Clover Health, I'm still looking forward to seeing more upside in this play. And part of the reasons being is when we went on Fintel, we could still see clearly it has short squeeze potential. So knowing that, as far as where we tested on the day being at around $11.13, I want to see it move to $12 sometime this week. As far as taking a look at the overall chart, it is still looking really bullish. So that's part of the reasons why I feel like there's still more potential left in this play and it's not done as of yet. When I was telling you guys why I was getting into a position, we saw that they ended up releasing their earnings. We had the reaction that we had. The stock pulled back very quickly and we saw it get down to the $7 range. And I'm like, hey, it is definitely staying steady, consolidating in this particular area. So we can look forward to seeing a potential move to the upside. And that is exactly what we are getting right now. So this is why it is very important to make sure you have your strategy laid out. I was getting some messages, people saying, hey, Dre, so did you see CLOV? Did you see it run up? Is now a good time to get in? And I have to say this, I'm going to be very clear about it. Never plan to trade. Trade your plan. The plan was already laid out in multiple videos for this stock. Even told you guys what I was going to do. So for today, you should have been just sitting down and relaxing. I know some of you also said, hey, I took some profits on the move, and there's nothing wrong with that because I tell you guys all the time to protect your profits. But another thing that I also want to update you guys on, we do have a choppy market, and we're going to look forward to seeing this going on for this week and as well as for next week. So if you're in the position where you're like, hey, you're kind of nervous or you're having anxiety or you're worried about how the stock is going to perform, just make sure whatever decision that you have, you do what's best for you and your overall mental health. Because again, this is just a trade off of momentum. For anyone that wants to invest for the long term in regards to CLOV, again, you should have been adding to your position when it pulled back, getting down to that $8 range and as well as $7. If you haven't done so, then I would be patient. That's just me personally, and this is how I feel about it. I know many are going going to disagree with me about that, but that's perfectly fine. But as far as from momentum and from a trading standpoint, and also taking a look at the technicals, I still like this play. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.